Alright, Chernobyl episode 5. You're into the last episode now. Last episode they were shooting dogs and trying to cleanse the town and stuff, so let's see what number 5's all about.
I hear they might promote Brukhanov. This little problem we have with the safety test, if it's completed successfully, yes, I think promotion's very likely. Who knows, maybe Moscow. Naturally, they'll put me in charge once he's gone, and then I'll need someone to take my old job.
I would like to be considered.
We'll keep that in mind.
Viktor Petrovich, preparations for the test have gone smoothly. Comrade Dyatlov's been working per my instructions, and Reactor 4 output's been reduced to 1600 megawatts. With your approval, we're ready to continue lowering power to...
You have to wait.
Are
you going to ask me if there's a problem, Nikolai? You can't read a fucking face. 3 years I've tried to finish this test. 3 years. So do we have to scrap it or what?
No, I don't think so. Now, if we need to wait 10 hours, we wait.
I'm running half power, we're not going to have stability issues.
No, I should think...
I'm not asking you.
Hey, you're a yes man.
It's safe. We'll maintain at 1600. I'll go home, get some sleep, come back tonight. We'll proceed then. I'll personally supervise the test, and it will be completed.
That's the bad thing about Russia though, where they don't put the people that should be in charge. It's all friends of friends. It's probably every single bit of gear that they use to put it out, right? Man, those fire trucks look rough, eh?
The Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet of the USSR has determined that justice be carried out on behalf of the people. Indictments: Viktor Brukhanov, Anatoly Dyatlov, Nikolai Fomin are accused of violating Article 220, Section 2 of the Criminal Code of the Soviet Union, resulting in a nuclear disaster on April 26, 1986. The state calls witnesses Comrade Khamyuk of the Belarusian Nuclear Institute, Comrade Legasov of the Kurchatov Institute of Atomic Energy, and Comrade Boris Yevdokimovich Sherbina.
It began with, of all things, a safety test. Why was there need for a safety test at all? Reactor number 4 was not new when the accident occurred. In fact, it went into operation on December 20th, 1983. And 11 days later, on the last day of the year, Plant Director Viktor Brukhanov signed this document, certifying the completion of the construction of the reactor. As a result of finishing the work before the end of the year, Comrade Brukhanov was awarded Hero of Socialist Labor. Comrade Fomin was awarded for valorous labor. Comrade Dyatlov was given an Order of the Red Banner. But the work was not finished.
Those people will probably get killed too, eh? It's probably like a death trial.
In order to sign this certificate, all safety tests had to have been successfully completed, and yet one remained. A nuclear reactor generates heat in the core here. A series of pumps here and here send a constant flow of cooling water through the core. The core's heat turns the water to steam, and the steam spins the turbine here, and the result is electricity. But what if a power plant has no power? What if the power feeding the plant itself is disrupted? A blackout, equipment failure, or an attack by a foreign enemy? If there's no power, the pumps cannot move water through the core, and without water, the core overheats, the fuel melts down, in short, a nuclear disaster.
Shouldn't you have a backup though?
Diesel fuel backup generators here.
Yeah.
So, problem solved? No. Brikhanov knew that the problem was not solved at all. The backup generators took approximately 1 minute to reach the speed required to power the pumps and prevent a meltdown. And by that time, it would be too late.
Too late.
So we arrive at the safety test.
They should have multiple backups on something like that.
If the facility lost power, the turbine which had been spinning would take some time to slow down and stop. What if you could take the electricity it was still generating and transfer it to the pumps? What if the dying turbine could keep the pumps working long enough to bridge the 60-second gap until the generators came on? To test this theory, the reactor is placed in a reduced power mode, 700 megawatts, to simulate a blackout condition. Then the turbines are turned off, and as they slowly spin down, their electrical output is measured to see if it's enough to power the pumps. The science is strong, but a test is only as good as the men carrying it out. And the first time they tried, they failed. The second time they tried, they failed. The third time they tried, they failed. And the fourth time they tried was April 26, 1986.
To understand what happened that night, we have to go back 10 hours earlier, April 25th, the day the test was meant to take place. By 2 in the afternoon, the reactor has been lowered by half from its normal output level of 3,200 megawatts to 1,600 megawatts and is stable and ready to be reduced to its final output level for the test, 700 megawatts. But before they can proceed, there is a phone call. They are asking for a 10-hour delay. This is the first critical moment. The first link in the chain.
So what is the test? Because you think it would be like a stress test or something, right? But they're lowering the output.
And allowed it to proceed. Why was this delay so dangerous? It created 2 problems. One of them is scientific in nature, and the other is very human. This is the one we will consider first. At midnight, there is a shift change.
That's that dude that had those really mucked up lips. 25-year-old that died, right?
Sasha.
So it's sitting at
Not a test.
1,600.
They're supposed to run a turbine rundown. They tried it last year. They couldn't do it on the day shift, so they've given it to us.
To us? We don't know what... We don't know what it is.
It's fine. We take it down to 700, hold it there. The rest is Stoliachuk and Kirschenbaum, but Dyatlov is going to be supervising.
I have to do something I've never done before with Dyatlov looking over my shoulder.
Oh, don't worry. We'll do it together. Just look at the instructions now.
Are we supposed to do those or not?
Why do they got them doing it if they don't know what they're doing? Stupid.
I have the manual for the rundown test. You did it last year. Yes, in the program there's instructions of what to do, and then, well, there's a lot of things crossed out. What should I? Well, what should I? Are you sure?
Poor management.
Right. Thank you. He says to follow the crossed-out instructions.
So then why are they crossed out?
I've been cleared to run the test. 1600, good. Is it too much to ask that you all know what you're doing?
Well, yes, absolutely.
Stelyachuk?
Yes.
Kirschenbaum?
I haven't reviewed
They shouldn't have said
We
they
only
knew
just
what they
found
were
out.
doing too.
There, review it. Or you can just do what I tell you. I think even you, stupid as you are, can manage that. Well, let's go.
Switch the turbine off while the reactor's still running. This is not good.
Shut the fuck up and do your job. Option
Hell.
off. Reduce power to 700.
This guy thinks he's the man.
I've never done this with the power so low before. It's okay, I'm with you. Reducing power to 700.
I want you to think of Yuri Gagarin. I want you to imagine that he has been told nothing of his mission into space until the moment that he is on the launch pad. I want you to imagine that all he has is a list of instructions that he has never seen before, some of which have been crossed out. This is exactly what was happening in the control room of Reactor 4. The night shift had not been trained to perform the experiment. They hadn't even been warned it was happening. Leonid Tokchanov, the operator responsible for controlling and stabilizing the reactor that night, was all of 25 years old. And his total experience on the job? 4 months. This is the human problem created by the delay. But inside the reactor core, in the space between the atoms themselves, something far more dangerous is forming. A poison.
Say it.
The time is 28 past midnight.
Yo, people, if you're enjoying the content, help a brother out, hit that subscribe button.
But you don't need to be a nuclear scientist to understand what happened at Chernobyl. You only need to know this. There are essentially two things that happen inside a nuclear reactor. The reactivity which generates power either goes up or it goes down. That's it. All the operators do is maintain balance. Uranium fuel. As uranium atoms split apart and collide, reactivity goes up. But if you don't balance the reactivity, it never stops rising. So, boron control rods.
Yeah, those.
They reduce reactivity like brakes on a car. But there's a third factor to consider: water. Cool water takes heat out of the system. As it does, it turns to steam, or what we call a void. In an RBMK reactor of the type used at Chernobyl, there's something called a positive void coefficient. What does that mean? It means that the more steam present within the system, the higher the reactivity, which means more heat, which means more steam, which means
more power.
It would appear we have a vicious cycle on our hands. And we would, were it not for this. And we would, were it not for this, the negative temperature coefficient. When nuclear fuel gets hotter, it gets less reactive. So, fuel increases reactivity. Control rods and water reduce it.
All it, yeah.
Steam increases it. The rise in temperature reduces it. This is the invisible dance that powers entire cities without smoke or flame. And it is beautiful when things are normal. As uranium splits apart to release energy, it breaks down into a new element, xenon. Xenon reduces reactivity. This is the poison Comrade Homut mentioned. When the core is running at full power, it burns the xenon away before it can cause a problem. But because of the delay, Chernobyl Reactor 4 has been held at half power for 10 hours. The xenon did not burn away.
So it built up.
It built up, poisoning the core.
And when those things went in, made a spark, right? And you say they had carbon fiber tips or something?
Midnight, the reactor is now primed to slow down. And yet, in less than an hour, it will explode. If you can't understand how a stalled nuclear reactor could lead to an explosion, I don't blame you. After all, you don't work in the control room of a nuclear power plant. But as it turned out, the men who didn't understand it either.
Easy now. Take it down. Good. Like that.
You should have finished by now.
We're following protocol for reduction rate.
You're procrastinating. There are 10 other men in this plant would have done it already.
See, how the hell did this dude get in charge? Risk taker. I bet he comes over and just turns the
Come get me when
knob.
these old women are ready.
Yes, Comrade Dyatlov.
I bet they start talking mad shit about him too.
Okay, very slow now. Let's ease it down to 700. Whoa, 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 slow.
I didn't move any rods there.
$500. And where's the dude that's in charge? Gone.
What is this?
I'm not even touching it.
Go get him anyway. This will be when he says we've got a problem, right? And the whole thing blows.
We did everything right. I think that maybe the core is poisoned.
Well, if you thought the core was poison, then you didn't do everything right because you're choking my reactor. Get it back up.
I think if we turn off LAC, it may be possible to get more control.
Do it, go.
Right, switch off local automatic control. Go to global. Leonid.
LAC disabled, global control activated.
Or instantly drop 150, or it's going to 0.
What did you do?
I did what you said, I switched.
Look at it!
I don't understand.
Fucking amateurs, you stalled the reactor. How the fuck did you get this job?
Comrade Dyatlov.
How the
You're
fuck
gonna
did
tell
you
me
get
that you
your
did
job?
everything right again, you incompetent arsehole?
I apologize for this unsatisfactory result.
What are you doing?
We have to shut all the way down.
No.
Well, we could be in a xenon pit.
We have to shut down, wait 24 hours.
Studios
we're
are
doing the test
hiding.
tonight. Raise power to 700.
We can't raise the power from here. The rules.
Don't talk to me about rules.
If we fall from 80%...
No, we fell from 50% of
From
power.
50%, it's even
The rules
worse.
don't say 50. There is no rule.
Comrade Dyatlov, I apologize, but what you're saying makes no sense.
Raise the power.
No.
Good man.
I won't do it. It isn't safe.
Stick with
Safety
your guns.
first. Always. I've been saying that for 25 years. That's how long I've done this job. 25 years. Is that longer than you, Akimov?
Yes.
Is it much longer?
Yes.
And you with your mother's tit barely out your mouth? See, if I say it's safe, and if the two of you disagree, then you don't have to work here, and you won't. But not just here, you won't work at Kursk,
Threatening them with their jobs now.
Leningrad, or Novovoronezh. You won't work anywhere ever again. I'll see to it. I think you know I will see to it. Raise the power.
I would like you to record your command.
Raise the power.
Yeah, see, he doesn't even want to record it either. Fucking piece of shit, man. Hey, and then when it all went up in flames and shit, here he is like, nah, I didn't say anything.
Together then.
I wasn't even there.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't in the room when they raised the power.
If you weren't there, then where were you?
Legasov, you are a witness, not a prosecutor. I will ask the questions here. If you weren't in the room, then where were you?
The toilet.
The
How
toilet.
convenient. During a
Comrade
safety
Hunt, you
test.
interviewed everyone who was in the control room that night. They all told the same story. I knew what Dyatlov ordered was wrong. That if I didn't do what he said, I would be fired. Leonid Toptinov. One day before he died. No, Comrade Dyatlov, you were in the room. You ordered them to raise the power. This is a fact.
Court is now in recess, 30 minutes.
Bound to get it their way of the amount of time they spent in the area.
Maybe a year. They call it a... they call it a long illness. It doesn't seem very long to me. I know you told me and I believed you. But time passed and I thought it wouldn't happen to me. I wasted it. I wasted it all for nothing. For nothing. Do you remember that morning when I first called you? How unconcerned I was. I don't believe much that comes out of the Kremlin, but when they told me they were putting me in charge of the cleanup, and they said it wasn't serious, I believed them. You know why?
Because you thought he was valuable.
I'm an inconsequential man, Valera. That's all I've ever been. I hoped that one day I would matter, but I didn't. I just stood next to people who did.
There are other scientists like me. Any one of them could have done what I did. But you, everything we asked for, everything we needed.
You got
men, material, lunar rovers. Who else could have done these things? They heard me, but they listened to you. Of all the ministers and all the deputies, the entire congregation of obedient fools, they mistakenly sent the one good man. For God's sakes, Boris. You were the one who mattered most.
Comrade Legasov.
The time is 38 past midnight. The reactor is nearly shut down. The operators of Reactor 4 are locked on a path that leads directly to disaster. There's no way to turn back. They do not yet know it, but the die is cast. At 30 megawatts, xenon is still being created, but none of it is burning away.
just building until the pressure chamber,
The reactor is
right?
drowning in poison. To make matters worse, the reactor isn't hot enough to produce sufficient steam. The only way to safely raise power from this state is to do it very, very slowly over the course of 24 hours. But Dyatlov wants it done now. Akimov and Toptonov have only one course of action. They begin pulling control rods out. Dozens at a time, halfway out, three-quarters of the way out. Still, the power does not budge. So they begin pulling them all the way out. There were 211 control rods in Reactor 4.
Shit.
Akimov and Toptonov completely withdrew 205. Remember?
Lift 6
control
in.
rods are the brakes on this car. Of 211 rods, only 6 now remain in the reactor. As for the fuel, it's gone cold, so the negative temperature coefficient is no longer weighing down the reactivity. But even still, the xenon poisoning is so strong, the best they can do is raise the power to 200 megawatts. The control rods are out, The emergency system has been disconnected. The only thing keeping the reactor in check is water and xenon. It's 1 in the morning. The test is minutes away.
So it won't go up any higher from that, right? It shouldn't if he said it would only go up to 200. They're gonna do it, eh? Because they've been spending their whole life doing the study to get to that position, and it's threatening their jobs. Saying you'll never work in that industry
this
again.
This is all we can get. It's 200 megawatts. We pulled almost everything out.
That's all we have, that's all we have.
But the test requires 700.
Steliachuk, let's get ready. Switch on pump 4.
Oh, wait a second.
Steliachuk.
We have barely enough steam as it is. The turbine is going too slow for the test to deliver any valid results. And if we add more water, there will be even less.
I said it's enough. I know what I'm doing. Steliachuk.
Main pump 4 connected. We should warn Herdomchuk, the pipes are going to be jumping.
Never mind him. Kirschenbaum.
Man, disobeying every safety procedure.
All right, let's all help him. Get it up as best you can.
We should stop.
Turn that
Everyone in the room is saying stop.
You have 15 minutes.
15 minutes. They may as well have had 15 days. The problem they were facing was not solvable. The power was too low, the water was too high. The test was already ruined. The results would have been useless, but the Dyatlov didn't care. All he wanted to do was report a completed test. 1:22 a.m. Less than 2 minutes remain. Yuvchenko, the mechanical engineer, is in his office. Garavozchenko, reactor section foreman, is in the refueling hall, high above the 1,000-ton steel reactor cover. Diktayenko, Podemchuk, circulation operators are in the pump room.
Oh, the pipes are starting to shake.
None of them have been told about the test. None of them know what is about to happen.
They must be pretty close to it, eh?
And 30 seconds, Toptanov sees a report from the reactor's Scala computer system. Based on the absence of sufficient control rods, the computer is recommending that the reactor be shut down.
Denied.
Well, of course it's saying that. It doesn't know we're running a test. All right, comrades. Another few minutes. It'll all be over.
Fuck, man. Can't believe how much people this dude got killed.
Everything right?
3,800 people just clearing the rooftop gonna die young because of him.
Closing number 8 throttle valve. Generator rotor beginning rundown.
1:23 and 4 seconds. With every decision, they have pulled this reactor back like a slingshot, further than anyone has ever pulled. Now the test begins. The pumps are shut down and they've let go. The pumps stop moving water through the reactor. Uranium fuel is now unchecked by fresh coolant, unchecked by control
hotter
rods.
and hotter and hotter,
The
right?
balance immediately swings in the opposite direction. In less than a second, reactivity increases. Inside the core, the remaining water is quickly converting to steam. A void is being created. There is no fresh water to replace it. Steam increases reactivity, increases heat, increases steam, increases reactivity.
Shit.
The remaining xenon
Still got gas in there too,
decays
right?
away.
It's
The
gone.
power is rising. There's nothing left to stop it. 1:23 and 35 seconds.
We have a power surge, Sasha.
Oh no, it's pumping.
What did you do?
Instantly blames them.
In every control room of every nuclear reactor in the world, there is a button with one single purpose: to scram or instantly shut down the reaction. In Soviet reactors, that button is called AZ5. You press AZ5, all of the control rods insert at once, and the reaction is stopped, dead.
So they would have put that extra 205 in, right, at once.
What are you waiting for, Legasov? Tell your lies.
Comrade Dyatlov, you will not be warned again.
Or what? For God's sake, Legasov's already given it away. He said before
Comrade
there was
Dyatlov.
no way to avoid what was coming. He knows something.
Comrade Dyatlov.
She knows something. I know what you are, Valery Alexeyevich. You're a liar.
We've heard enough for today. The defendants will be remanded in custody. Court will...
I haven't finished. I still have more evidence to give.
It's not necessary. Your testimony is concluded. Your Honor.
Court is now adjourned. We will resume tomorrow.
Let him finish.
Comrade Sabina.
Let him finish.
He's dying anyway. So he knows if he gets shot, at least he's doing something to save the Russian people.
Dyatlov broke every rule we have. He pushed a reactor to the brink of destruction. He did these things believing there was a failsafe. AZ5, a simple button to shut it all down. But in the circumstances he created, there wasn't. The shutdown system had a fatal flaw. At 1:23:40, Akimov engages AZ5. The fully withdrawn control rods begin moving back into the reactor. These rods are made of boron, which reduces reactivity, but not the tips. The tips are made of graphite, which accelerates reactivity.
Why?
Why? For the same reason our reactors do not have containment buildings around them, like those in the West. For the same reason we don't use properly enriched fuel in our cores. For the same reason we are the only nation that builds water-cooled, graphite-moderated reactors with a positive void coefficient. It's cheaper. The first part of the rods that enter the core are the graphite tips, and when they do, the reaction in the core, which had been rising, skyrockets. Every last molecule of liquid water instantly converts to steam, which expands and ruptures a series of fuel rod channels. The control rods in those channels can move no further. The graphite tips are fixed in position, endlessly accelerating the reaction. Chernobyl reactor 4 is now a nuclear bomb. 1:23:42. Perevoschenko looks down on the enormous steel lid of the reactor and sees the impossible. The control rod and fuel channel caps, which each weigh 350 kilograms, are jumping up and down. He runs to warn the control room, but there's nothing he can do to stop what is coming. 1:23:44.
It's a heavy bit of steel too, 350 kilos each.
Fuel channels apart. We do not know how high the power went. We only know the final reading. Reactor 4, designed to operate at 3,200 megawatts, went beyond 33,000.
10 times.
The pressure inside the core can no longer be held back. At long last, we have arrived. 1:23:45, explosion.
God, imagine all those coming out too.
Oxygen rushes in. It combines with hydrogen and superheated graphite. The chain of disaster is now complete.
So it is kind of like a booster, like fire. You need air to make a fire hotter or bigger. It wasn't me. I wasn't here. It wasn't me. I'm going home. See you tomorrow.
No one in the room that night knew the shutdown button could act as a detonator.
See, the one on the left, he probably shouldn't like super be there.
Because it was kept from them.
Comrade Legasov, you're contradicting your own testimony in Vienna.
The testimony in Vienna was a lie. I lied to the world. Not the only one who kept the secrets. There are many who were following orders from the KGB, from the Central Committee, and right now there are 16 reactors in the Soviet Union with the same fatal flaw. 3 of them are still running, less than 20 kilometers away at Chernobyl.
Professor Legasov, if you mean to suggest the Soviet state is somehow responsible for what happened, then I must warn you, you're treading on dangerous ground.
I've already trod on dangerous ground. We're on dangerous ground right now because of our secrets and our lies. They're practically what define us. When the truth offends, we lie and lie until we can no longer remember it is even there, but it is still there. Every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later, that debt is paid. That is how an RBMK reactor core explodes. Lies.
KGB right there. They had to be told though. There's no way you can have 3 more nuclear explosions happening like that. The whole of Europe would go up, right? Imagine that being led down into a basement in a single room, knowing you've just told state secrets. You think the Russian president would just have come out and said it anyway?
Valery Alexeyevich Legasov.
Presidential pardon.
Son of Alexei Legasov, head of Ideological Compliance Central Committee. Do you know your father did that?
Yes.
As a student, you had a leadership position in Komsomol, Communist Youth, correct?
You already know.
Answer the question.
Yes.
At the Kurchatov Institute, you were the Communist Party secretary. In that position, you limited the promotion of Jewish scientists. I can do anything I want with you. But what I want the most is for you to know that I know. You're not brave. You're not heroic. You're just a dying man who forgot himself.
I know who I am. And I know what I've done. In a just world, I'd be shot for my lies, but not for this, not for the truth.
Scientists. And your idiot obsession with reasons. When the bullet hits your skull, what will it matter? Why?
Because he's probably saved a lot more lives.
No one's getting shot like ourselves. The whole world saw you in Vienna. It would be embarrassing to kill you now. And for what? Your testimony today will not be accepted by the state. It will not be disseminated in the press. It never happened.
Yeah, but the people that were there will know now, eh?
However long you have. But not as a scientist. Not anymore. You keep your title and your office, but no duties, no authority. no friends. No one will talk to you. No one will listen to you. Other men, lesser men, will receive credit for the things you have done. Your legacy is now their legacy. You'll live long enough to see that.
It's filthy. All for telling the truth.
What role did Shabina play in this?
None. He didn't know what I was going to say.
What role did Homyuk play in this?
None. She didn't know either.
Wouldn't be surprised if the Russians killed them anyway.
It would be curious if you chose this moment to lie.
I would think a man of your experience would know a lie when he hears one.
You will not meet or communicate with either one of them ever again. You will not communicate with anyone about Chernobyl ever again. You will remain so immaterial to the world around you that when you finally do die, it will be exceedingly hard to know that you ever lived at all.
Nah, Bolt, I'm smuggling myself out of the country.
Refuse.
Why worry about something that isn't going to happen?
Why worry about something that isn't going to happen? Oh, that's perfect. They should put that on our money.
Wonder if he'd feel the same way if he had his family and stuff in Chernobyl, eh?
To be a scientist is to be naive. We are so focused on our search for truth, we fail to consider how few actually want us to find it. But it is always there, whether we see it or not, whether we choose to or not. The truth doesn't care about our needs or wants. It doesn't care about our governments, our ideologies, our religions. It will lie in wait for all time. And this, at last, is the gift of Chernobyl. Where I once would fear the cost of truth, now I only ask, what is the cost of lies?
In Russia, seems to be a lot of lives. Age of 51, on April 26, 1988, exactly 2 years after the explosion of Chernobyl. In the aftermath of his death, Soviet officials finally acknowledged the design flaws of the RBMK nuclear reactor. The reactors were retrofitted to prevent an accident like Chernobyl ever happening again. Legasov was aided by dozens of scientists who worked tirelessly alongside him at Chernobyl. Some spoke out against the official account of events and were subject to denunciation, arrest and imprisonment. 10 years hard labour, ooh, in Russia, are you making it out of that? Wow, they put him back in charge of a nuclear plant. Wow. Holy. I don't know why the hell that lady went in the room with her husband anyway. So she did have kids. For 1 month to prevent a total nuclear meltdown. It is estimated that at least 100 of them died before the age of 40. Did a big service to their country though. It's been widely reported that the 3 divers who drained the bubbler tanks died as a result of their heroic actions. In fact, all 3 survived after hospitalization. Oh mate, that's fucking great. 2 are still alive to this day. 600,000 people were conscripted to serve in the inclusion zone. Despite widespread accounts of sickness and death as a result of radiation, the Soviet government kept no official records of their fates. The contaminated region of Ukraine and Belarus, known as the exclusion zone, ultimately encompassed 2,600 square kilometers. Approximately 300,000 people were displaced from their homes. They were told this was temporary. It is still forbidden to return. Shit, it's like 50 years ago. Mikhail Gorbachev presided over the Soviet Union until its dissolution in 1991. In 2006, he wrote, "The nuclear meltdown at Chernobyl was perhaps the true cause of the collapse of the Soviet Union." Following the explosion, there was a dramatic spike in cancer rates across Ukraine and Belarus. The highest increase was among children. Wow. We don't even know the actual human cost of Chernobyl. Most estimates range from 4,000 to 93,000 deaths. Ooh. All because of that one dude. The official Soviet death toll unchanged since 1987. It's 31. Man, they're good at cover-ups, aren't they? Especially the firefighters and the nurses, man. Shit.